Well, hello, beautiful people of planet Earth. This delightfully quirky, sometimes a little bit weird and crazy. Well, not that crazy. I'm just eccentric, a little bit different and very spiritual, apparently. But anyway, the Mama T, the Tanya, is back in the virtual room of sacred space at Titania's realm here on my YouTube channel, but I'm also in my actual living room, and I've had to go and have a little nap actually. I'm wrung out. I'm really exhausted. I might have to go and get a follow-up B12 injection. Thinking about that. I've got it here. I just didn't follow it up, which I'm like that. I don't always follow through with medical things, but probably wouldn't hurt. I've got to see that GP anyway ask him to do a sun cancer skin check anyway. So I think it can wait though. I mean, it's like nearly Christmas, 9 days. Although I might ring him tomorrow, see if I can get in before Christmas. Got 9 days. Dear goddess. But I put things off. Anyway, enough about that. I've had a nice little nap and I feel a little bit more clear mentally, a little bit more refreshed. Sometimes you just have to hit the refresh button. Charlie's been on her own in her cage all day. Say hello to the people, Charlie. Say hello, people of Earth. You can't see them, but they can see you. I know. Is there life out on planet Earth, Charlie? Bobo's in Valhalla, Charlie. Yes, he is. He's in Valhalla. So I brought her out with us because it's lonely for her, you know. Mama being in bed, and I brought her out. We had lunch at about 1 p.m. and she sat and participated in me eating my lunch, which was quite messy because she got into the pasta salad I'd made and shredded pieces of pasta all over the dining table, and you know, did what birdies do, just make a mess and be happy and joyous and carefree. What are you doing, trying to bite me? Are we going to read stories to the people of Earth from the Scheherazade? We've got lots of stories to still go. We need to mix it up. I think I'm getting a bit bored of reading just Scheherazade stories, and they kind of trigger me sometimes. Or maybe everything triggers me at the moment because it's December. It's December. But anyway, let us continue. I've decided to continue. I think this is a very long one. It might have to get broken up. How long is it? Let me just check. Might be a 2-video one, and we might manage to get it into 1 video. Oh dear goddess. Yeah, potentially a 2-video one. Anyway, I'll just read and do what I do, and if you like it, you'll watch and or listen, and we'll all live happily ever after, just like in a fairy tale. And energy is energy, people, and whatever energies pop in to say hello or interrupt my readings, which is annoying, I know, will happen, and Charlie will happen, and I will happen, and on we go, and it's all very quite kind of delightful. Why is there water over there, Charlie? All right. So here we go. We're going fresh. I'm reading this book fresh to you, and as I go, I'm, you know, sometimes do a little commentary on things because I don't know all these stories either, and it's kind of delightful. This what's up, Charlie. I'll tell you what's up. Everything that's not down is up. Some things need to be put back down again, but we're upside down compared to everyone in the Northern Hemisphere. We're down under, Charlie, so we're so not up right now. But Mama's up and at 'em and out of bed, so today's a good day. Mama, You say mama now. Mama, mama. What's up? Give me a kiss. Give me a kissy. Kissy, kissy. Stingy bird. Can't get kisses out of anyone anymore. Well, anyway, doesn't matter, does it? I'm used to living like this, people. A solitary little hermitage and my one wild out night dancing so I can feel like I'm a human and participate in the world. And even then I sometimes get triggered by I don't know what lately. Maybe I should worry. I just need to increase the dose of love quotients and be a silly old chook until I die. Right, here we go. The tale of Zayn. I presume it's pronounced Zayn. It could be Zayn. Zane Grey was a famous Western writer in America, wrote about cowboys. I think it's meant to be Zayn. I don't know. I'll just go with that. The tale of Zayn Al-Asnam and the Sultan of the Jinni. Have you noticed that the Jinni almost always win over mortal humans? I have. I've got some, well, they're not Jinni per se, they're Australian fairies in my garden that I occasionally make offerings to. I haven't done it for a long time. It's probably why I'm going a bit cray-cray, to be honest. They have ways of saying, hey, don't forget about us. You know, don't be stingy. Should we go out and make offerings to the fairies, Charlie? Last time I gave them some little shells, because mine are forest fairies and we're a long way. We're not a long way from the sea, but my forest fairies have never seen the sea, just saying. I don't think so anyway. Although they're interdimensional and they can probably go to the sea at the blink of an eye if they wanted to, I'm assuming. So I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking rubbish, people of Earth. But anyway, I gave them some shells and some little glass beads, and it's probably time I gifted them again. And I make a regular offering to Papa Legba, the voodoo god of the underworld, because he's sort of, you know, with grace and benevolence, my protector now. Had to call him in last year. Dear goddess. But however it works, am I right? I'm healing, I'm improving, I'm getting better, and I have spiritual protection from very, very powerful energies, and I'm grateful for that. So he gets a tot of spiced rum, or sometimes Jack Daniels. I'm running low on my Jack Daniels. I haven't drunk hardly any, but he's had it all. But I don't begrudge it because, you know, as I say, you build relationships with the gods. You need to continue and honour it and be grateful for the blessings they bestow upon me, a mere mortal who is their little one and a tad unworthy. They love it when I say I'm unworthy. No, you're not. You're not unworthy. We don't look after you for no reason. Double negative makes a positive. They're looking after me for a reason, people of Earth. They want me to have mine. Happy ever after. So my happy ever after starts from inside of me, by the way. I'm manifesting it. With harm to none and competition from none, and so it is done. So let us continue. Quoth, gifting these stories to YouTube is also a form of offerings, leaving behind a trail of our memories and our stories and our fairy interactions, sometimes real life fairy interactions. My friend Jared has astonishing stories to tell, but he's too shy to share them on YouTube, and I don't dare because they're his stories, and you know, It's a boundary violation, but ooh, the stories he's got, that'll blow your head back. One day, Jared, if you watch my videos, I hope you share your stories because they're wonderful and they're true. Like, true as in he actually experienced this in his 3D reality. So, it wasn't stoned either, don't get me wrong. He's not, doesn't do drugs. He's a very psychic man, and the fairy love him. Often have little interactions with him throughout his life, which is wonderful. Wonderful, but also a bit astonishing when it happens because it's out of left field. It's something that you don't normally expect. Don't normally expect to manifest in your ordinary human mortal reality. So, but yes, my fairies around the House of Garden have been quiet. There's a fair bit of poltergeist activity for a while there. It's all gone very quiet indeed, and in a way I'm contented about it. I did ask them to settle it back down because it was getting a little bit scary, to be honest. One of the things with, well, I'm post-menopausal now really, but one of the things with menopausal women is that the energy manifests the same as prepubescent girls, that poltergeist activity becomes very active, and so whether it's your own body and electrical impulses creating this, or whether it's fae, or whether it's an actual, malicious, nasty little poltergeist, it's open to interpretation to figure out who and what it is, but it's interesting that it's settled down now. So, and as I said, sometimes you've just got to ask them to calm down on the physical manifestations of their presence. And anyway, that's all I've got to say about that, people. Quoth Scheherazade the next evening, "It hath reached me, O King of the age, that in Bassorah city reigned a puissant Sultan." Puissant, I think, means forward-thinking or pushy, or let me just check. It's cute that the author throws in Scottish words and French words and Italian words, and some, like that one the other day, we never found out what that meant, did we? Puissant. Aha. Having great power or influence. Archaic. Puissant. In French it means powerful in French as well. Right, powerful and influential. So here we go. Reigned a puissant Sultan, meaning powerful and influential Sultan, who was opulent exceedingly, which is, I love opulence. If I were wealthy, I'd be opulent too. Even though in my current state there's opulence all around me, because I had to fight hard for my mother's chattels, and I got rid of the majority of it after that long, hard fight, because it didn't spark joy, and it was constant seeping wound and painful reminders of my mother, but I kept the my favourite and nicest things and got rid of the rest. When I say got rid of it, I gifted it accordingly, or I gave the rest to charity, so I feel good about that. It's amazing though how things hold no real intrinsic value as you get older. You're like, if it doesn't spark joy or feed your soul, it just becomes clutter and dust collectors, and if it has constant pernicious reminders of someone that wasn't even really loving to you, it's a seeping wound. So move the energy on, people of Earth. The only reason I still have what I have is because I had to fight hard for 2.5 years for it, so I'm intransigent about stripping everything back to bare bones and having nothing again. What you fight for, you value. I always have to fight for things, probably because I'm an Aries. I have to fight for love. I have to fight for my health to improve. I have to fight for peace in my own soul. I have had to fight each time my animals went down to Valhalla with ignominious, putrid, greedy, corrupt vets. So I'm still very damaged by the last loss of Beauregard for that awful fight. What else do I have to fight for? For 2 years I had to fight for my very breath, but I'm better now. Fight and fight and fight, and sometimes I just break down. It is what it is. But anyway, enough about that. Opulent exceedingly was the powerful Sultan, and who owned all the goods of life. But he lacked a child which might inherit his wealth and dominion. And I'm telling you, without progeny, all your accoutrements and wealth is meaningless shit if you don't get to look into the next generation, that the little mini you, it's empty and it's meaningless. Oh well, my daughters haven't reached that gnosis yet at nearly 40, but they will. They will. There'll be great sadness when the time comes when they realise they've had no children and no grandchildren. I at least had them, and it's a seeping wound that there are no grandchildren, just saying. Your grandchildren, your future, they're not even your future, it's their future, their turn to achieve and aspire and dream and succeed in whatever their chosen vocations are. That's life, people. Life moving on down into posterity. So anyway, there seems to be a lot of sultans or kings in these Arabian Nights stories that are childless. Must have been a common thing in those days. I wonder what was going on. We know what's causing childlessness now, don't we? Let's not go there. I've already had to crawl into bed and dig my way back out. Because I'm a warrior goddess and I keep fighting forwards no matter what, no matter who. But I just have to have a rest occasionally. Also, I'm pushing 60 and had decades of very poor health, so it's not surprising that I get a bit fragile now that I'm getting older. Fragile but fierce and puissant. So he lacked a child which might inherit his wealth and dominion. So being sorely sorrowful on this account, I hear you, brother, he arose and fell to doing abundant alms deeds to fakirs and the common poor, to the hallows and other holy men, and prayed their recourse to Allah Almighty, in order that the Lord, to whom belong might and majesty, might of his grace bless him with issue. Oh, isn't he sweet? At least he did something with all his accoutrements and money he'd amassed in his lifetime. That is a form of leaving behind a legacy, helping feed and nourish and nurture and grow someone else. If you haven't got your own children, it's a good use of your time and money. I don't have money either, but if I had, I probably would be doing something similar. And I give a lot of my energy out in my wild dance on a Friday, so that too is a form of service. So much energy that I'm often quite ill after, but that's on me. It's my energy and I choose to expend it how I wish to. And the compassionate, with a capital C, meaning their Allah or God, however you want to describe that energy, accepted his prayer for his alms to the religious, and deigned grant his petition, And one night of the nights after he lay with the queen, she went away from him with child. That's putting it delicately, isn't it? Now, I've been watching, let me just, a little segue here. I'm watching 100 Years of Solitude by, is it Gabriel Marquez Garcia, or is it the other way around? Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I think it's Garcia. Anyway, wonderful, wonderful TV show. I need to read the book. It's written in Spanish because the stories are set in Colombia. So, yeah, wonderful, wonderful stories, quirky and unusual and a bit supernatural too. I'm going to get the book and read it because I think I will enjoy reading it as in book form. But wonderful. Did I mention wonderful? Mama tea. When I fall in love with a story or a writer or an artist, it's wonderful. Anyway, one day I will no longer be here and you will laugh at these videos in my quirky ways. Now, as soon as the Sultan heard of the conception, he rejoiced with exceeding great joyance. And when the days of delivery drew near, he gathered together all the astrologers and sages who strike the sandboard, and said to them, I wonder what striking the sandboard is. Must be what they use to lay out their charts on. 'Tis our desire that ye disclose and acquaint us anent the birth which is to be born during the present month, whether it shall be male or female, and what shall befall it from the shifts of time, and what shall proceed from it. Thereupon the geomantists struck their sandboards, and the astrophils ascertained their ascendants, and they drew the horoscope of the babe unborn. Which how do they do that? Because I thought that you had to have the actual date and time of the birth to know their horoscope. It's very clever indeed. They were doing it without the child even being born yet. And said to the sovereign, O King of the age and Lord of the time and the tide, verily the child to which the Queen shall presently give birth will be a boy, and 'twill be right for thee to name him Zayn Al-Asnam, Zayn of the images. Then spake the geomantist, saying, Know then, ho, though the king, that this little one shall approve him when grown to man's estate, valiant and intelligent, my kind of man. But his days shall happen upon sundry troubles and travails. Oh, that's not fair. And yet, if he doughtily fight against all occurrence, he shall become the most opulent of the kings of the world. Exclaimed the Sultan, and the child approve himself valorous as ye have announced, then the toil and moil shall be his lot, may be held for naught, inasmuch as calamities but train and strengthen the songs of kings. Oh, he has no idea. He's right. You get trained and strengthened, but the suffering, the collateral damage of all the suffering, the prices you have to pay, the sacrifices that are made, the extreme agonies, physical, mental, emotional. I guess he's just trying to be positive. Shortly after this, the Queen gave birth to a man-child, and glory be to him who fashioned the babe with such peerless beauty and loveliness. Well, beauty doesn't help you, darlings. It's not that simple. The king named his son Zayn Al-Asnam, and presently he became even as the poet sang of one of his fellows in semblance. He showed, and they cried, "Be Allah blessed," and made him and formed him his might attest. This be surely the Lord of all loveliness, and all others his lieges and thralls be confessed. Then Zayn al-Asnam grew up and increased until his age attained its 15th year, when his sire the Sultan appointed for him an experienced governor, one versed in all the sciences and philosophies, who fell to instructing him till such times as he waxed familiar with every branch of knowledge, and in due season he became an adult. Thereupon the Sultan bade summon his son and heir to the presence, together with the lords of his land and the notables of his lieges, and addressed him before them with excellent counsel, saying, "O my son, O Zayn al-Asnam, seeing that I shall be shotten in years, and at the present time sick of a sickness which haply shall end my days in this world, and which anon, haply not happily, and which anon shall seat thee in my stead, therefore I bequeath unto you," unto thee, it says, the following charge. "Beware, O my son, lest thou wrong any man, and incline not to cause the poor complain, but do justice to the injured after the measure of thy might. Furthermore, have a care lest thou trust to every word spoken to thee by the great, but rather lend thou ever an ear unto the voice of the general, for that thy grandees will betray thee as they seek only what so suiteth them, not that which suiteth thy subjects." Sounds a bit familiar. Been through that in 4 years' time too. The global elites deciding what they thought was good for us, getting all the celebrities to shill it as well. Well, you know my thoughts on that matter. A few days after this time, the old Sultan's distemper increased, and his life term was fulfilled, and he died. Whereupon his son, Zayn al-Asnam, arose and donned mourning dress for his father during 6 days, and on the 7th he went forth to the divan, with a capital D, and took seat upon the throne of his sultanate. He also held a levee wherein were assembled all the defenders of the realm, and the ministers and the lords of the land came forward and condoled with him for the loss of his parent, and wished him all good fortune, and gave him joy of his kingship and dominion, and prayed for his endurance in honour and his permanence in prosperity. Zayn al-Asnam, seeing himself in this high honour and opulence, and he young in years and void of experience, straightway inclined unto lavish expenditure and commerce with the younglings, who were like him, and fell to wasting immense wealth upon his pleasures, and neglected his government, nor paid aught of regard to his subjects. Thereupon the Queen Mother began to counsel him, and forbid him from such ill courses, advising him to abandon his perverse inclinations, and apply his mind to rule and commandment, and to further the policy of his kingdom, lest the lieges repudiate him, and rise up against him and depose him. But he would on no wise hearken to a single of her words, and persisted in his ignorant folly. Whereat the folk murmured, inasmuch as the lords of the land had put forth their hands to tyranny and oppression, when they saw the king lacking in regard for his riots. Riots? Not sure how to pronounce that. Let's see. Peasant, Indian peasant or tenant farmer.
Riot.
Riot. Sounds like the word riot. See how I wanted to make it sound more ethnic? Because I knew it was something ethnic, I just didn't know. Alright, Mama T stands corrected. Everybody stop laughing now, including me. Well, it's hilarious. In regard to his riots. See, if I heard that without seeing how it's spelt, I would have thought they meant a different kind of riots. Anyway, Indian peasants. I need a cup of tea, my throat's all closing up again. And presently the commons rose up against Zayn Al-Asnam and would have dealt harshly with him, had not his mother been a woman of wits and wisdom and contrivance, dearly loved of the general. So she directed the malcontents aright, and promised them every good. Then she summoned her son, Zayn Al-Asnam, and said to him, shits and giggles, let's find out how Zayn is pronounced. Doesn't say. Just comes up with all these people named Zayn. Well, no. Alright, we won't worry about it. I'm just having a crisis now that I've pronounced everything wrong and I'm some kind of bizarre genius idiot, but it is what it is, people of Earth. I'm here for a short time, not a long time. She says, I've outlived all my expectations, much longer than I ever anticipated. Shut up, Tanya, you don't even know what you're talking about there. A psychiatrist reckons I've got another 30 years of life in me. Oh, he loves me, that man. He wants me around. I don't know why. I'm joking. He does want me around. And I do know why. Because I'm delightful. And I'm funny. And I'm quirky. And it's all good. It's all good. Come here, Charlie. Up here. No, come up here. Oh, you're a rebellious bird. Oh, you're a defiant birdie. Do you know who you are? You're a perfect mirror for Mummy. You're a sweet little darling. Yes, you are. Right, then she summoned her son, Zayn Al-Asnam, and said to him, Behold, O my child, that which I foretold for thee, to wit that thou wastest thy realm and lavish thy life to boot, by persevering in what ignorance thou art, for that thou hast placed the governance of thy kingdom in the hands of inexperienced youth, and hast neglected the elders, and hast dissipated thy monies, and the monies of the monarchy. Oh, he really is an idiot. And thou hast lavished all thy treasure upon wilfulness and carnal pleasuring. Sounds a bit like Prince Andrew and... Well, never mind. I mean, yeah, you have to laugh. It's not actually funny. Zayn Al-Asnam. Who's the other idiot? Prince Harry. Yes. squandering his existence. But at least he's not a pedophile like his uncle, although we hope not. Carnal pleasuring. Zayn Al-Asnam, awaking from the slumber of negligence, forthright accepted his mother's counsel, and, faring forth at once to the divan, he entrusted the management of the monarchy to certain old officers, men of intelligence and experience. But he acted on this wise only after Basora town was ruined, inasmuch as he had not turned away from his ignorant folly before he had wasted and spoiled all the wealth of the Sultanate, and he had become utterly impoverished. That's a lot of wealth to literally blow out of your tuchus, people of earth. Sultanate, as we said in the beginning, it was opulently wealthy. Thereupon the prince fell to repenting and regretting that which had been done by him, until the repose of sleep was destroyed for him, and he shunned meat and drink. Nor did this cease until one night of the nights, which had sped in such grief and thoughtfulness and vain regret, until dawn drew nigh and his eyelids closed for a little while. Then an old and venerable sheikh appeared to him in a vision and said to him, I wonder why my throat closes up when the air conditioning's on. It's a bit odd, isn't it? Oh, Zayn Al-Asnam, sorrow not. For after sorrow, however sore, cometh naught but joyance. And wouldst thou win free of this woe? Up and hie thee to Egypt, where thou shalt find hoards of wealth which shall replace whatso thou hast wasted, and will double it more than twofold. Now, never mind, it's a fairy story. I was just pondering on how he was going to double it by just going to Egypt. Is he going to steal it from another king? Guess we're about to find out. Now when the prince was aroused from his sleep, he recounted to his mother all he had seen in his dream. But his parent began to laugh at him, and he said to her, Mock me not, there is no help but that I wend Egyptwards. Rejoined she, O my son, believe not in swevens, which be mere imbroglios of sleep and lying fantasies. Yes, I agree with his mother, actually. And retorted, saying, In very sooth, my vision is true, and the man whom I saw therein is of the saints of Allah, and his words are veridical. Then on a night of the nights, mounting horse alone and privily, he abandoned his kingdom and took the highway to Egypt, and he rode day and night, Charlie, until he reached Cairo city, Charlie. I know, we haven't been there either. He entered it and saw it to be a mighty fine capital. Then, tethering his steed, he found shelter in one of its cathedral mosques. And he, worn out by weariness, however, when he had rested a little, he fared forth and bought himself somewhat of food. After eating, his excessive fatigue caused him fall asleep in the mosque. Nor had he slept long ere the sheikh appeared to him a second time in vision and said to him, O Zayn Al-Asnam, thou hast obeyed me in whatso I bade thee, and I only made trial of thee to test an thou be valiant or a craven. But Now I wot thy worth, inasmuch as thou hast accepted my words, and thou hast acted upon my advice. So do thou return straightway to thy capital, and I will make thee a wealthy ruler, such an one that neither before thee was any king like unto thee, nor shall any like unto thee come after thee. That's interesting. He sent him on a fool's errand just to turn up to a city, and then he gets sent back home again, being promised great wealth because he obeyed a directive. Interesting. Some things come down to destiny and the capricious will of the gods. Just saying. Hereat, Zayn Al-Asnam awoke and cried, Bismillah, in the name of Allah, the compassionating, the compassionate, what be this sheikh who verily persecuted me until I travelled to Cairo, and I, having faith in him and holding that he was either the apostle, whom Allah save, or one of the righteous hallows of God, I think they mean by that angels, or there is no majesty and there is no might save in Allah the glorious, the great. By the Lord, but I did right well in not relating my dream to any save to my mother, and in warning none of my departure. I had full faith in this oldster, but now meseemeth the man is not of those who know the truth, capital T, be he extolled and exalted. So by Allah, I will cast off all confidence in this sheikh and his doings. With this resolve the prince slept that night in the mosque, and on the morrow took horse, and after a few days of strenuous travel, arrived at his capital, Bassorah. Herein he entered by night, and forthright went into his mother, who asked him, Say me, hast thou won aught of whatso the sheikh promised thee? And he answered her by acquainting her with all his adventure. Then she applied herself to consoling and comforting him, saying, Grieve not, O my son, if Almighty Allah have apportioned unto thee aught, thou shalt obtain it without toil and travail. But I would see thee wax sensible and wise, abandoning all these courses which have landed thee in poverty. O my son, and shunning songstresses, and commune with the inexperienced and the society of loose livers, male and female. All such pleasures as these are for the sons of the ne'er-do-well, not for the scions of the kings thy peers. She's got a point there, you know. Herewith Zayn Al-Asnam sware an oath to bear in mind all she might say to him, never to gainsay her commandments, nor deviate from them a single hair's breadth, to abandon all she should forbid him, and to fix his thoughts upon rule and governance. Then he addressed himself to sleep, and as he slumbered, the sheikh appeared to him a third time in vision, and said, O Zayn Al-Asnam, O thou valorous prince, this very day, as soon as thou shalt have shaken off thy drowsiness, I will fulfil my covenant with thee. So take with thee a pickaxe, and hie to such a palace of thy sire, and turn up the ground, searching it well in such a place, where thou wilt find that which shall enrich thee. It's about to rain again. As soon as the prince awoke, he hastened to his mother in huge joy and told her his tale. And she fell again to laughing at him and saying, "O my child, indeed this old man maketh mock of thee and naught else, so get thyself clear of him." But Zayn Al-Asnam replied, "O mother mine, verily this sheikh is soothfast and no liar. For the first time he but tried me, and now he proposeth to perform his promise. Whereto his mother, at all events the work is not wearisome, so do thou whatso thou willest, even as he bade thee. Make the trial, and, Inshallah, God willing, return to me rejoicing. Yet sore I fear lest thou come back to me and say, Sooth thou hast spoken in thy speech, O my mother." "You spoke the truth, my mother." However, Zayn Al-Asnam took up a pickaxe and, descending to that part of the palace where his sire lay entombed, began to dig and to delve. Nor had he worked a long while ere, lo and behold, there appeared to him a ring bedded in a marble slab. He's grave robbing now, is he, from his old man? That's what it sounds like. He removed the stone and saw a ladder-like flight of steps, whereby he descended until he found a huge souterrain, all pillared and propped with columns of marble and alabaster. And when he entered the inner recesses, he saw within the cave-like souterrain a pavilion which bewildered his wits, and inside the same stood 8 jars of green jasper. So he said in his mind, "That's not good, is it? My neighbour across the road's walking on his roof wearing Crocs and he's sliding on the roof. Oh dear goddess, hope he doesn't fall off." But anyway, wonder what he's doing up there. Being a boy. Being a man, doing man things. Piddling on the roof. I'm still waiting for them to come and do my guttering. Dear goddess. So he said in his mind, "What may be these jars, and what may be stored therein?" He came forwards and, unlidding them, found each and every full of antique golden pieces. So he hent a few in hand, seen, and going to his mother, gave of them to her, saying, "Hast thou seen, O my mother?" She marvelled at the matter, and made answer, "Beware, O my son, of wasting this wealth as thou dissipatest other aforetime." Whereupon her son sware to her an oath, saying, "Have no care, O my mother, nor be thy heart other than good before me, and I desire that thou also find satisfaction in mine actions." Presently she arose and went forth with him, and the twain descended into the cavern-like souterrain and entered the pavilion, where the queen saw that which wildereth the wits. She made sure with her own eyes that the jars were full of gold. But while they enjoyed, the spectacle of the treasure, behold, they caught sight of a smaller jar, wondrously wrought in green jasper. So Zayn Al-Asnam opened it and found therein a golden key. Whereupon quoth the Queen Mother, O my son, needs must this key have some door which it unlocketh. Well, that's the purpose of keys, usually. Accordingly, they sought all about the souterrain and the pavilion to find if there be a door or aught like thereto. And presently, seeing a wooden lock fast barred, they knew wherefore the key was intended. Presently, the prince applied it and opened the lock, whereupon the door of a palace gave admittance. And when the twain entered, they found it more spacious than the first pavilion, and all illumined with a light which dazed the sight. Yet not a wax candle lit it up, nor indeed was there a recess for lamps. Hereat they marvelled and meditated, and presently they discovered 8 images of precious stones, all seated upon as many golden thrones, and each and every was cut of one solid piece. And all the stones were pure and of the finest water, and most precious of price. Just watching a scrub turkey that just flew into a small tree and was too big actually for the tree. It's just jumped out. Cute. Zayn Al-Asnam was confounded hereat and said to his mother, Whence could my sire have obtained all these rare things? And the twain took their pleasure in gazing at them and considering them, and both wondered to see a 9th throne unoccupied, when the queen espied a silken hanging, whereon was inscribed, O my son, marvel not at this mighty wealth, which I have acquired by sore stress and striving to travail. But learn also that there existeth a 9th statue whose value is 20-fold greater than these thou seest, and if thou would win it, hie thee again to Cairo city. There thou shalt find a whilom, meaning a previous, slave of mine, Mubarak hight, and he will take thee and guide thee to the statue, and 'twill be easy to find him on entering Cairo. The first person thou shalt accost will point out the house to thee, for that Mubarak is known throughout the place. When Zayn Al-Asnam had read this writ, he cried, O my mother, 'tis again my desire to wend my way Cairowards, and seek out this image. So do thou say, how seest thou my vision, fact or fiction, after thou assuredst me, saying, 'Tis be an imbroglio of sleep. However, at all events, O my mother, now there is no help for it but that I travel once more to Cairo. Replied she, O my child, seeing that thou be under the protection of the Apostle of Allah, whom may he save and assain, so do thou fare in safety, while I and thy wazir will order thy reign in thine absence till such time as thou shalt return. Accordingly the prince went forth, and gat him ready and rode on till he reached Cairo, where he asked for Mubarak's house. The folk answered him, saying, O my lord, this be a man than whom none is wealthier or greater in boon, deeds, and bounties, and his home is ever open to the stranger. Then they showed him the way, and he followed it till he came to Mubarak's mansion, where he knocked at the door, and a slave of the black slaves opened to him and asked, Who art thou, and what is it thou wantest? The prince answered, I am a foreigner from a far country, and I have heard of Mubarak thy lord, that he is famed for liberality and generosity, so that I come hither purposing to become his guest. Thereupon the chattel went in to his lord and, after reporting the matter to him, came out and said to Zayn Al-Asnam, O my lord, a blessing hath descended upon us by thy footsteps. Do thou enter, for my master Mubarak awaiteth thee. Therewith the prince passed into a court spacious exceedingly, and all beautified with trees and waters. And the slave led him to the pavilion wherein Mubarak was sitting. As the guest came, and the host straightway rose up. As the guest came in, the host straightway rose up and met him with cordial greeting, and cried, A benediction hath alighted upon us, and this night is the most benedict of the nights by reason of thy coming to us. So who art thou, O youth, and whence is thine arrival, and whither is thine intent? He replied, I am Zayn Al-Asnam, and I seek one Mubarak, a slave of the Sultan of Bassorah, who deceased a year ago, and I am his son. Mubarak rejoined, What sayest thou? Thou the son of the king of Bassorah? And the other retorted, Yea, verily, I am his son. Well, they didn't have digital ID in those days, did they? People of Earth. It's a bit alarming, actually, what we're subjected to. Quoth Mubarak, In good sooth, my late lord the king of Bassorah left no son known to me, but what may be thine age, O youth? 20 years or so, quoth the prince, presently adding, But thou, how long is it since thou leftest my sire? I left him 18 years ago, said the other. But, O my child Zayn Al-Asnam, by what sign canst thou assure me of thy being the son of my old master, the sovereign of Bassorah? Said the prince, Thou alone knowest that my father laid out beneath his palace a souterrain, and in this he placed 40 jars of the finest green jasper, which he filled with pieces of antique gold. Also that within a pavilion he builded a second palace, and set therein 8 images of precious stones, each one of a single gem, and all seated upon royal seats of placer gold. He also wrote upon a silken hanging a writ which I read, and which bade me repair to thee, and thou wouldst inform me concerning the 9th statue, whereabouts it may be, assuring me that it is worth all the 8. Now when Mubarak heard these words, he fell at the feet of Zayn Al-Asnam and kissed them, exclaiming, Pardon me, O my lord, in very truth thou art the son of my old master, adding presently, I have spread, O my lord, a feast for all the grandees of Cairo, and I would that thy highness honour it by thy presence. The prince replied, with love and the best will. So I've just had a very unusual message from a friend of mine. Huh. Where were we? Very rarely hear from this man. He's a very nice man. I know him from the casino, but it's unusual that he's messaged me. So nothing weird, people were just out of left field a bit. But yeah, wants to know if I post on Instagram, so he probably wants to look at my jewellery site. Maybe, or maybe he's just got a problem with Instagram, wants to know how to sort it out. I don't know. We'll find out, won't we? I'm happy to hear from him. He's yeah, hasn't been in touch for a while. He's got a wife in India that he's hoping to bring to Australia with their little baby, so I'm excited for it. So anyway, where were we? He was inviting the prince to a feast. The prince replied, with love and the best will. It's a lovely way of putting it, isn't it? I like that. Thereupon Mubarak arose and forewent Zayn Al-Asnam to the saloon, which was full of the lords of the land there gathered together. And here he seated himself after establishing Zayn Al-Asnam in the place of honour. Then he bade the tables be spread and the feast be served, and he waited upon the prince with arms crossed behind his back and at times falling upon his knees. So the grandees of Cairo marvelled to see Mubarak, one of the great men of the city, serving the youth, and wondered with extreme wonderment, unknowing whence the stranger was. After this they ate and drank and supped well, and were cheered, till at last Mubarak turned towards them and said, O folk, admire not that I wait upon this young man with all worship and honour, for that he is the son of my old lord, the Sultan of Basora, who bought me with his money, and who died without manumitting me. I am therefore, manumitting, I think must mean freeing him. I am therefore bound to do service to his son, this my young lord, and all that my hand possesseth of money and munition belongeth to him, nor own I aught thereof at all, which would have come as a great shock. When the grandees of Cairo heard these words, they stood up before Zayn Al-Asnam and salaamed to him with mighty great respect, and entreated him with high regard and blessed him. Then said the prince, O assembly, I am in the presence of your worships, and be ye my witnesses. O Mubarak, thou art now freed, and all thou hast of goods, gold and gear, erst belonging to us, becometh henceforth thine own, and thou art endowed with them for good, each and every. Eke do thou ask whatso of importance thou wouldst have from me, for I will on no wise let or stay thee in thy requiring it. I think he's just been tricked into handing over all that wealth from the ninth statue. Oh, but I'm a pessimist. Maybe I should think more kindly of the slave. With this, Mubarak arose and kissed the hand of Zayn Al-Asnam and thanked him for his boon, saying, O my lord, I wish for thee naught save thy weal, but the wealth that is with me is altogether overmuch for my wants. Then the prince abode with the freedman 4 days, during which all the grandees of Cairo made active presence day by day to offer their salams as soon as they heard men say, This is the master of Mubarak and the monarch of Basora. And whenas the guest had taken his rest, he said to his host, O Mubarak, my tarrying with thee hath been long. Whereto said the other, Thou wottest, O my lord, that the matter whereinto thou comest, do inquire, is singular rare. Oh, says Charlie, but that it also involveth risk of death, and I know not if thy valour can make the attainment thereto possible to thee. Rejoined Zayn Al-Asnam, No, O Mubarak, that opulence is gained only by blood, nor cometh aught upon mankind, save by determination and predestination of the Creator, be he glorified and magnified. So look to thine own stoutness of heart, and take thou no thought of me. Thereupon Mubarak forthright bade his slaves get them ready for wayfare. So they obeyed his bidding in all things, and mounted horse, and travelled by light and dark over the wildest of wolds, every day seeing matters and marvels which bewildered their wits, sights they had never seen in all their years, until they drew near unto a certain place. There the party dismounted, and Mubarak bade the negro slaves and eunuchs abide on the spot, saying to them, Do ye keep watch and ward over the beasts of burthen and the horses until what time we return to you. After this the twain, yes, my love, set out together afoot, and quoth the freedman to the prince, O my lord, here valiancy besitteth, for that now thou art in the land of the image thou camest to seek. And they ceased not walking till they reached a lake, a long water and a wide, where quoth Mubarak to his companion, Know, O my lord, that anon will come to us a little craft bearing a banner of azure tint, and all its planks are of chaunders and lean aloes of Comorin, which is a city in southern India somewhere. The most precious of woods. And now I would charge thee with a charge, the which must thou most diligently observe. It's gone all hot in here now, all of a sudden. Dear Goddess. Down we go, 1 degree down, 1 degree down. Should be outside actually. It's blustery out there and it's damp. I haven't been out in the garden today at all. Stayed in the house. Boring. Anyway, where were we? And now I charge you with a charge, the which must thou most diligently observe. Ask the other. Thou wilt see in that boat a boatman, whose fashion is the reverse of man's. But beware, and again I say beware, lest thou utter a word, otherwise he will at once drown us. It's not very friendly, is it? Learn also that the stead belongeth to the king of the Jinns, and that everything thou beholdest is the work of the Jan. Mubarak and Zayn Al-Asnam came upon a lake where, behold, they found a little craft, whose planks were of chaunders and lean aloes of Comorin, and therein stood a ferryman with the head of an elephant, while the rest of his body wore the semblance of a lion. It's a bit unusual, isn't it? Especially in a small boat. Presently he approached them, and winding his trunk around them, lifted them both into the boat, and seated them beside himself. Then he fell to paddling till he passed through the middle of the lake, and he ceased not doing so until he had landed them on the further bank. Here the twain took ground and began to pace forwards, gazing around them the while, and regarding the trees which bore for burthen ambergris and lean aloes, sandal, cloves, and gelsomine, all with flowers and fruits, bedressed, whose odours broadened the breast and excited the sprite. Excited the spirit, they mean by that. It's aromatic and tantalising. There also the birds warbled with various voices, notes ravishing and rapturing the heart by the melodies of their music, spelt with a K on the end. Sweet, isn't it? So Mubarak turned to the prince and asked him, saying, How seest thou this place, O my lord? And the other answered, I deem, O Mubarak, that in very truth this be the paradise promised to us by the Prophet, whom Allah save and assain. Thence they fared forwards till they came upon a mighty fine palace, all builded of emeralds, and rubies, with gates and doors of gold refined. It was fronted by a bridge 150 cubits long to a breadth of 50, and the whole was one rib of a fish. What? Doesn't make sense, does it? Well, it's interdimensional in the world of the Jinni or the faery. It's, you have to suspend belief. At the further end thereof stood a numerous hosts of the Jan, all frightful of favour and fair inspiring of figure, and each and every hand javelins of steel which flashed to the sun like December leaven. What are you doing, little baby bird? Are you being very smoochy? It's nearly your bedtime. When the sun goes down, you've got to go to your beddy num-nums. I love you. You're fluffed up and cute looking. Do you know how beautiful you are? Has Mummy told you today that you are a beautiful birdie? You are. Yes, you're my beautiful girl. All this attention being paid to stories and YouTube audiences will never see, and should be paying attention to my bird. Oh, I'm a terrible mother. It's probably why my children hate me too. It is what it is, people are there. But we're snuggling up together side by side, so she's having intimacy with me at the same time, so I'm not really a terrible mother. Stop pulling out your feathers or I will become a terrible mother. Stop it! Shh. You were happy there before, being more peaceful. Now you've got to go into anarchy and chaos because I gave you a bit of attention. Story of my life. When you give them attention, they act out, my kids. So it's probably why I just carry on doing my thing. Right, here we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Come here, little girl. Thereat, quoth the prince to his companion. Never mind. This be a spectacle which ravisheth the wits. And quoth Mubarak, it now behoveth that we abide in our places, nor advance further, lest there happen to us some mishap, and may Allah vouchsafe to us safety. Herewith he brought forth his pouch, 4 strips of a yellow silken stuff, and zoning himself with one, threw the other over his shoulders, and he gave the 2 remaining pieces to the prince, that he might do with them on like wise. Oh, I see. So he had one he kept, one he threw over his shoulders, gave the other 2 to the prince so he could keep one and throw one over his shoulders. Right, I'm on the program. Next, he dispread before either of them a waist shawl of white sendal, and then he pulled out of his poke sundry precious stones and scents and ambergris and eagle wood. Never heard of eagle wood. And lastly, each took his seat upon his sahs, S-A-H-S. And when both were ready, Mubarak repeated the following words to the prince and taught him to pronounce them before the king of the Jann. O my lord, sovereign of the spirits, we stand within thy precincts and we throw ourselves on thy protection. Whereto Zayn Al-Asnam added, and I adjure him earnestly that he accept of us. But Mubarak rejoined, O my lord, by Allah, I am in sore fear. Hear me. And he determined to accept us without hurt or harm. He will approach us in the semblance of a man, rare of beauty and comeliness. But if not, he will assume a form frightful and terrifying. Now an thee see him in his favourable shape, do thou arise forthright and salam to him, and above all things beware lest thou step beyond this thy oath. Sorry, thy cough. like oath and glasses or vision blurring dead bodies. Beware lest thou step beyond this thy cough. The prince replied, to hear is to obey. And the other continued, and let thy salam to him be thy saying, O king of the sprites, and sovereign of the Jan, and lord of earth, my sire, the whilom Sultan of Basora, whom the angel of death hath removed, as is not hidden from thy highness, was ever taken under thy protection, and I, like him, come to thee, suing the same safeguard. Mubarak fell to listening Zayn Al-Asnam how he should salute the king of the jinns, and pursued, likewise, O my lord, if he hail us with gladsome face of welcome, he will doubtless say thee, ask whatso thou wantest of me, and the moment he giveth thee his word, do thou at once prefer thy petition, saying, O my lord, I require of thy highness the ninth statue, than which is naught more precious in all the world, and thou didst promise my father to vouchsafe me that same. Kind of the definition of chutzpah in a way, but promise is a promise, am I right? And after this, Mubarak instructed his master how to address the king, and crave of him the boon, and how to bespeak him with pleasant speech. Then he began his conjurations and fumigations, ow! And adjurations, and recitations of words not understanded of any, and but little time elapsed before cold rain down railed, and lightning flashed, and thunder roared, and thick darkness veiled earth's face. Presently came forth a mighty rushing wind, and a voice like an earthquake, the quake of earth on Judgment Day. Cheeky bird. The prince, seeing these horrors, and sighting that which he had never before seen or heard, trembled for terror in every limb. But Mubarak fell to laughing at him and saying, Fear not, O my lord, for that thou dreadest is what we seek, for to us it is an earnest of glad tidings and success. So be thou satisfied, and hold thyself safe. After this, the skies waxed clear and serene exceedingly, while perfumed winds and the purest scents breathed upon them. Nor did a long time elapse ere the king of the Jan presented himself under the semblance of a beautiful man who had no peer in comeliness, save and expecting him who lacketh likeness, and to whom be honour and glory. He gazed at Zayn Al-Asnam with a gladsome aspect and a riant, R-I-A-N-T. This is all very humbling, how stupid I feel people are that. Very humbling. Laughing, smiling, cheerful. Ow! Example, she exuded good humour with her riant brown eyes, curly flyaway hair, and madcap grin. He gazed at Zayn Al-Asnam with a gladsome aspect and a riot, whereat the prince arose forthright and recited the string of benedictions taught to him by his companion. And the king said to him with a smile in favour, O Zayn Al-Asnam, verily I was wont to love thy sire, the Sultan of Bassorah, and when he visited me ever, I used to give him an image of those thou sawest, each cut of a single gem. And thou also shalt presently become to me honoured as thy father, and yet more. Ere he died, I charged him to write upon the silken curtain the writ thou readest, and eke I gave promise and made covenant with him to take thee like thy parent under my safeguard, and to gift thee as I gifted him with an image, to wit the ninth, which is of greater worth than all of those viewed by thee. So now 'tis my desire to stand by my word, and to afford thee my promised aid, which is interesting because the number 9 in numerology represents completion of a cycle or a project or reaching full fruition. The Lord of the Jann said to the prince, I will take thee under my safeguard, and the sheikh thou sawest in thy swevens was myself, and I also 'twas who bade thee dig under thy palace down to the souterrain, wherein thou sawest the crocks of gold and the figures of fine gems. I also well know wherefore thou art come hither, and I am he who caused thee to come, and I will give thee what thou seekest, for all that I would not give it to thy sire. But 'tis on condition that thou return unto me, bringing a damsel whose age is 15, a maiden without rival or likeness in loveliness. Furthermore, she must be a pure virgin and a clean maid who hath never lusted for male, nor hath ever been solicited of man. And lastly, thou must keep faith with me in safeguarding the girl whenas thou returnest hither, and beware lest thou play the traitor with her while thou bringest her to me. To this purport the prince sware a mighty strong oath, adding, O my lord, thou hast indeed honoured me by requiring of me such service. There's a woman involved, it won't be as simple as he thinks people are. Just saying. But truly, 'twill be right hard for me to find a fair one like unto this, and grant that I find one perfectly beautiful and young in years after the requirement of thy highness. How shall I weet, spelt W-E-E-T, if she ever longed for mating with man, or that man ever lusted for her? Replied the king, Right thou art, O Zayn Al-Asnam, and verily this be a knowledge whereunto the sons of men may on no wise attain. However, I will give thee a mirror of my own, whose virtue is this. When thou shalt sight a young lady whose beauty and loveliness please thee, do thou open the glass, and if thou see therein her image clear and undimmed, do thou learn forthright that she is a clean maid, without aught of defect or default, and endowed with every praiseworthy quality. I don't dare look in a fucking mirror these days. Oh, the wrinkles. Well, I'm old. But if, contrariwise, the big figure be found darkened or clothed in uncleanness, do thou straightway know that damsel is sullied by soil of sex. Shouldst thou find her pure and gifted with all manner good gifts? This is in the magic mirror, not in every woman's mirror, by the way. Don't take it personally, women of earth. I think we're fine, regardless of our how many lovers we may have or may not have had in our glory days. And life was just as weird as it is now, but kind of more interesting in some ways, just saying. Shouldst thou find her pure and... I'll read that. Oh no, we didn't. Should thou find her pure and gifted with all manner good gifts, bring her to me, but beware not to offend with her and do villainy. In other words, don't you dare touch her. And if thou keep not faith and promise with me, oh, excuse me, bear in mind that thou shalt lose thy life. It's quite serious about this. Do you want to see what the genie looks like? Here he is. I think it's the genie. Ah, yes. It says, the Lord of the Jan. Hereon the prince made a stable and solemn pact with the king, a covenant of the sons of the sultans which may never be violated, to keep faith with the king of the Jan, and never to play traitor thereto, but to bring the maid en français, in French, en tout bien et tout honneur, well and honourably, to that potentate who made over to him the mirror, saying, O my son, take this looking glass whereof I bespake thee, and depart straightway. Thereupon the prince and Mubarak arose, and after blessing her, fared forth and journeyed back until they made the lakelet, where they sat but a little, ere appeared the boat which had brought them, bearing the genie with elephantine head and leonine body, and he was standing up ready for paddling. The twain took passage with him, and this by command of the king of the Jan, until they reached Cairo, and returned to their quarters, where they abode whilst they rested from the travails of travel. Travails means hard work or struggles. You speak about a woman labouring, giving birth is in travail, just in case you didn't realise what that meant. Then the prince turned to his companion and said, "Arise with us, and wend we to Baghdad city, that we may look for some damsel such as the king describeth." And Mubarak replied, "O my lord, we be in Cairo, a city of the cities, a wonder of the world, and here no doubt there is, but that I shall find such a maiden, nor is there need that we fare therefore to a far country." Zayn al-Asnan rejoined, "True for thee, O Mubarak, but what be the will and the way whereby to hit upon such a girl? And who shall go about to find her for us?" Quoth the other, "Be not beaten and broken down, O my lord, by such difficulty. I have by me here an ancient dame, and cursed be the same, who maketh marriages, and she is past mistress in wiles and guiles, nor will she be hindered by the greatest of obstacles." An old school matchmaker is what he means by that. I abhor matchmakers of all kinds. Auntie Sylvia, I forgive you, but that was not good what you did to me, along with my evil mother. You were deceived and tricked by my evil mother's machinations. This is why I hate matchmaking. Don't ever do it to me, unless you want to receive my wrath, which is without bounds when it comes to matchmakers. So saying, she sent to summon the old trot. I love it. The old trot. And informed her that he wanted a damsel perfect of beauty and not past her 15th year, whom he would marry to the son of his lord, and he promised her sumptuous bakshish and largesse if she would do her very best endeavour. Answered she, "O my lord, be at rest. I will presently contrive to satisfy thy requirement even beyond thy desire. For under my hand are damsels unsurpassable in beauty and loveliness, and all be the daughters of honourable men." Well, that's something to talk about there, right there. Daughters of honourable men. Guess there's a few still around even in modern days. But the old woman, O Lord of the age, knew naught anent the mirror. So she went forth to wander about the city and work on her well-known ways, procuring young women for a life of white slavery, just saying. And she wandered about town to find a maiden for the Prince Zayn Al-Asnam. Whatever notable beauty she saw, she would set before Mubarak. I'm joking about white slavery. Some women are happy being married, have wonderful husbands, wonderful long-term, for the rest of their lives, lovers and partners and in the institution of marriage, and they're safe, and they're cherished, and they're adored, and they're valued, they're, if necessary, protected by their man, and they live happily ever after, just like a fairy story. Something to aspire to in my late stage of life, which is ridiculous. Maybe I should take up matchmaking for other people, since being unfortunate in love in my own life. Well, I have kind of dabbled in that a little bit at the casino, and I could see people were sweet and kind and decent. I would bat one over there and point the gnarly finger and stare people along, but it was difficult at the casino to matchmake anyone really, because most people were there just for the very short frivolous hookups, and a lot of them were batshit crazy too. So it was hard. It's very hard to be a good judge of character in that scene. And I certainly never found anyone, but I was willfully sabotaged by malevolent people too. So there is that. But you know what? It is what it is. It all comes down to fate. I was kept precious for the one who will be a good, kind, loving man to me and be a wonderful lover and partner and soulmate and friend and life companion, if that is ever going to manifest. Who can really tell? I've had lots of fairy stories told me over many years, but what are you doing, Charlie? One simply can't escape one's fate, and my fate can go either way. And either way, I kind of am okay with it. Yes, Charlie. You want kisses and cuddles now, because it's nearly birdie mum time to go to sleepies. It's nearly birdie mum time to go to sleepies. Yes. Do you love your mama? You're a bit smelly. You could do with a bath, miss. Have you had a bath today? I don't think you've had a bath. She's about to poo on me, I can tell. Yes, I know. Yes, I know what you're capable of, child. Right. We're out looking for a maiden. Where were we? But the old woman, O Lord of the age, knew naught anent the mirror. So she went forth to wander about the city and work on her well-known ways, and she wandered about town to find a maiden for the Prince Zayn Al-Asnam. Whatever notable beauty she saw, she would set before Mubarak, but each semblance, as it was considered in the mirror, showed exceedingly dark and dull, and the inspector would dismiss the girl. This endured until the crone had brought to him all the damsels in Cairo, and not one was found whose reflection in the mirror showed clear bright, and whose honour was pure and clean, in fact such an one as described by the king of the Jann. At 15, they're already compromised. It's not good, is it? It's not a happy smile, it's my wincing smile. Disgust. What can we say, people of Earth? What can we say? Herewith Mubarak, seeing that he had not found one in Cairo to please him, or who proved pure and unsullied, as the king of the Jann had required, determined to visit Baghdad. So they rose up and equipped them and set out, and in due time they made the city of peace, where they hired them a mighty fine mansion amiddlemost the capital. Here they settled themselves in such comfort and luxury that the lords of the land would come daily to eat at their table, even the thirsty and those who went forth betimes. And what remained of the meat was distributed to the mesquine and the miserable. Also every poor stranger lodging in the mosques would come to the house and find a meal. Therefore the bruit of them, for generosity and liberality, went abroad throughout the city, and won for them notable name and the fairest of fame. Nor did any ever speak of aught save the beneficence of Zayn Al-Asnam, and his generosity and his opulence. Now there chanced to be in one of the cathedral mosques an Imam, Abu Bakr hight, a ghostly man passing, jealous and fulsome, who dwelt hard by the mansion wherein the prince and Mubarak abode. And he, when he heard of their lavish gifts and alms deeds and honourable report, smitten by envy and malice and hatred, fell to devising how he might draw them into some calamity that might despoil the goods they enjoyed and destroy their lives. For it is the want of envy to fall, not save upon the fortunate. So one day of the days, as he lingered in the mosque after mid-afternoon prayer, he came forwards amidst the folk and cried, O ye, my brethren of the faith which is true and who bear testimony to the unity of the deity, I would have you weet that housed in this our quarter are two men which be strangers, and haply ye have heard of them, how they lavish and waste immense sums of money, in fact monies beyond measure. And for my part I cannot but suspect that they are cut purses and brigands who commit robberies in their own country, and who came hither to expend their spoils. O believers of Muhammad, I counsel you in Allah's name that ye guard yourselves against such accursids, for haply the Caliph shall in coming times hear of these twain, and ye also shall fall with them into calamity. I have hastened to caution you, and have warned you. I wash my hands of your business, and after this, pardon me, do ye as ye judge fit. All those present replied with one voice, Indeed, we will do whatso thou wishest us to do, O Abu Bakr, Bakr. But when the Imam heard this from them, he arose. How interesting that such a spiteful man was also an Imam, which is like a priest, very high eminence in the Muslim faith. But when the Imam heard this from them, he arose, and bringing forth ink case and reed pen and a sheet of paper, began inditing an address to the commander of the faithful, recounting all that was against the two strangers. However, by decree of destiny, Mubarak chanced to be in the mosque among the crowd when he heard the address of the blameworthy Imam, and how he purposed applying by letter to the Caliph. So he delayed not at all, but returned home forthright, and, taking 100 dinars, and packing up a parcel of costly clothes, silver wrought all, repaired in haste to the Reverend's quarters, and knocked at the door. The preacher came and opened to him, but sighting Mubarak, he asked him in anger, What is it thou wantest, and who art thou? Whereto the other answered, I am Mubarak, and at thy service, O my master, the Imam Abu Bakr, and I come to thee from thy lord, the Emir Zayn Al-Asnam, who, hearing of and learning thy religious knowledge and right fair repute in the city, would fain make acquaintance with thy worship, and do by thee whatso behoveth him. Also he had sent me to thee with his garments and this spending money, hoping excuse of thee, for that this be a minor matter compared with your honour's deserts. But, inshallah, after this, he will not fail in whatever to thee is due. As soon as Abu Bakr saw the coin and gold and the bundle of clothes, he answered Mubarak, saying, I crave pardon, O my lord, of thy master the Emir, for that I have been ashamed of waiting upon him, and repentance is right hard upon me, for that I have failed to do my devoir by him. Wherefore I hope that thou wilt be, I think he means duty by him. Wherefore I hope that thou wilt be my deputy in imploring him to pardon my default and the Creator willing, tomorrow I will do what is incumbent upon me, and fair to offer my services, and prefer the honour which beseemeth me. Rejoined Mubarak, the end of my master's wishes is to see thy worship, O my lord Abu Bakr, and be Bakr, and be exalted by thy presence, and therethrough to win a blessing. So saying, he bussed the reverend's hand and returned to his own place. Bussed the reverend's hand. Presume he means shook his hand. On the next day, as Abu Bakr was, I know you have to laugh, was leading, well, I don't speak Arabic, do I? I can barely speak Hebrew. Was leading the dawn prayer of Friday. He took his station amongst the folk amid almost the mosque, and Davidson's yelling out, and whose fault is that? You should have continued with your studies. And whose fault is that? You told me I would never be any good at Hebrew and you put me down and I just went meh. Son, it's got a cheek telling me that now. Always putting me down. He was a vicious man. I hate him. Go back to the light, you monster. Go back to the seventh echelon of hell, wherever you come from. I don't care. Just to get out of my house. Butting in on my stories. It's just rude. It's like having a husband. He's not my husband. It's nothing to me. You're nothing to me. And also, stop interfering in my love life for what it's worth. I don't really have one, but I'm sure that he sabotages still to this day. Out of spite and envy. Dear Goddess. It's interesting, you know, because he died. Well, I didn't know he died exactly when he died until recently, but he started haunting me 3 weeks after his death in early June 2016. I had a man at the time that I was quite taken with, quite besotted with. Anyway, in that case, you probably did do me a favour, you monster. But anyway, there was a man I was kind of involved with at the time that I was keen on. And shortly after that one haunting, the other one, who happened to also be named David, that's why I call all Davids to this day, just randomly turned savage out of nowhere, just randomly just changed his mind about me and just went rancid. And to this day, I don't actually know what brought that about. But I'm glad now, because the last thing I want is a man in my bed or in my life being a partner who's a monster and savage and cruel and sadistic and awful. So maybe that one who haunted me, maybe he is actually a better matchmaker than I am, because by the gods, maybe he did me a favour chasing that one away. But how did you do it? I want to know. Do you love how I have this dialogue with this entity? Anyway, he wants to make amends. There's a lot to make amends for. So sometimes I allow it and sometimes I don't, according to my mood at any given time in space-time continuum. But yes, he was, I think it was him, stirring things up on Friday night again, whispering something in my ear, which was actually very good advice, and I acted upon it, because if it's common sense and benevolent, I act upon it, and if I don't like what I'm hearing, I choose to ignore it, because I don't know who you're dealing with really. But if it's benevolent, I accept with grace. Anyway, rejoined Mubarak. You should listen to me more often. You're not in charge of my life, Davidson. I am free will before all the gods, in the sight of all the gods, forever and ever. Amen. L'adore v'adore. Rejoined Mubarak. The end of my... Sorry, I have to laugh. The end of my master's wishes is to see thy worship, O my Lord Abu Bakr, and be exalted by thy presence, and therethrough to win a blessing. I'm trying to think about what power that manifested that leads him to haunt me still 8.5 years after his death. I wonder if that's kind of Jinni influence driven, because I did a releasing spell because he was so malignant when we were involved together, that one. So malevolent and malignant and evil. I did do a release. It was necessary, absolutely necessary. And at Byron Bay, actually, got the sea to wash out his name and take all his shit away from me, and just take all the love that I had felt for him at that time period. This is many years ago now. We're talking around about the year 2000. Got it to all just be washed and purified by the ocean, taken out with the tides representing, of course, eternity, to release him from me and stop this nonsense once and for all. So it's kind of weird that he still pops in and out. Anyway, my true love man would never be cruel or malevolent towards me, because he knows better. He will love me with all that he is, not more than God, not more than himself, because let's be realistic here. But he will love me of his own free will, body, mind, spirit, soul. Soul belongs to God. But he will love me truly and deeply and sweetly and kindly and romantically and passionately and loyally and faithfully. I mean, we have to give David some credit. 8.5 years after his death, he's faithfully hanging around trying to act as what? Some kind of guide or protector, but he's a nuisance at times. You're a nuisance. You weren't nice to me when you were alive, so I don't know what you're trying to prove now, but you had a powerful, spiritual, weird, fucked up connection when he was alive. You had powerful telepathy, so powerful that it was almost controlling and suffocating my energy, and it was too much. And then he went off and stopped everyone else and ran off with a younger, prettier woman and gave her 3 children. And they were vicious. Not the children, they're innocent of that, but the parents. So that's why every now and then you hear me say, go to hell, go back to the light, or go and annoy your wife and 3 kids. Vicious they were, almost caused my death. Very, very vicious. Not just once either, he nearly brought about my death, but several occasions. A homeopath, who would have thought, eh? Homeopaths can be evil too, manipulate energy. Just saying, don't fucking ever do that to me again. Man, woman, child, jinn, God, angel, do not ever manipulate my energy again. So, and people try. because it's like a hobby or a sport. People will try that, especially my kind of people who are powerful beyond measure and just want to see how far they can go with it. You understand? When they come up against the Tanya, they're coming up against someone who's survived multitudes, legions of monsters, including in my own family of origin. So, just bloody well don't. Unless you want to end up like him, still hanging around, unable to transmute his energy completely into the light because unfinished business. Owes me big time. And a lot of it has got nothing to do with the fact that he betrayed me, but cost me my rightful inheritance too, amongst other things. A lot of it's spiritual. And who knows how long this connection existed, long before I met him in 1998. We might have known each other in past lives. It must be some epic ancient fuckery we're still trying to resolve. How many times can I tell him I've let him go in peace, leave me the fuck alone? Won't have it, keeps popping in and popping out. Maybe he was part Jinni. Wouldn't know, would you? Certainly a dibbook. Anyway, I'm healing you, he says. Yes, I remember your idea of healing. Need I say more? Anyway, let us continue. I'm not actually angry with him per se. Dead men tell no lies. Can't do me any real harm except be a pest from time to time. I'm not really angry. I'm just letting him know to not invade my space completely. If he wants to help me, he could help me, but with respect for my body, mind and spirit, and my autonomy and my free will. And so it is, and so it always shall be. Stop laughing, Davidson. Right, where were we? It really is like kind of moving in and out of dimensions dealing with him, isn't it? Oh yes, on bussing the Reverend's hand, returning to his own place. On the next day, as Abu Bakr was leading the dawn prayer of Friday, he took his station amongst the folk, amiddlemost the mosque, and cried, O our brethren, the Muslims great and small, and folk of Muhammad one and all, know ye that envy falleth not save upon the wealthy and praiseworthy, and never descendeth upon the mean and miserable. He's wrong about that. Oh, the envy I had. The envy I had even after I'd lost everything, leaving my foul marriage in 2nd of January 1995. The viciousness and the envy that went on for decades. So this man's an idiot. Envy doesn't care whether you're rich or poor. I would have you wot, as regards the two strangers upon yesterday, I misspake, that one of them is an emir high in honour and son of most reputable parents, in lieu of being, as I was informed by one of his enviers, a cut purse and a brigand. What a vicious thing to do. They give him gifts and he does nothing but slander them. Of this matter, I have made certain that 'tis a lying report. So beware lest any of you say aught against him, or speak evil in regard to the Emir, even as I heard yesterday. Otherwise you will cast me, and cast yourselves, into the sorest of calamities with the Prince of true believers. For a man like this of exalted degree may not possibly take up his abode in our city of Baghdad, unbeknown to the Caliph. Thus Abu Bakr, the Imam, uprooted on such wise from the minds of men the evil which he had implanted by his own words, thrown out against the Emir Zayn Al-Asnam. But when he had ended congregational prayers and returned to his home, he donned his long gabardine and made weighty his skirts and lengthened his sleeves, after which he took the road to the mansion of the prince. And when he went in, he stood up before the stranger and did him honour with the highmost distinction. Now Zayn al-Asnam was by nature conscientious, albeit young in years, so he returned the Imam Abu Bakr's civilities with all courtesy, and seating himself beside him upon his high-raised divan, bade bring for him ambergris coffee. Isn't ambergris, I've got to look up ambergris, isn't it whale shit? I can't remember. Dear goddess. I've got to know. Perfume. I was right. Oh, it's not shit, but, well, it kind of is. A waxy substance that originates as a secretion of the intestines of the sperm whale, found floating in tropical seas and used in perfume manufacture. But why would you put perfume into coffee? Well, it's kind of gross. If you gave me ambergris coffee, I'd probably spit it in your face. It's also called grey amber, ambergris, a solid, waxy, flammable substance of a dull grey or blackish colour produced in the digestive system of sperm whales. So I'm right, it's whale shit. It's used as an incense, an aphrodisiac. Oh, that's why it went into the coffee. And medicine to cure many ailments, including those of the heart, brain and senses. Is it illegal in Australia? No, it's not. What? Oh no, is it legal to take it home and try and sell it? So America and Australia are the only two countries in the world in which it is illegal to handle ambergris. I wonder why that is. It's just whale shit, for the love of all the gods. Where is ambergris found in Australia? On the west coast of Tasmania. It is unsurpassed as a scent stabiliser and fixer, and at times it has been worth more than its equivalent weight in gold. And there it was, sitting on the shoreline of a beach in the remote southwest of Tasmania. What does it smell like? Chemist Gunther Olof once described ambergris as humid, earthy, fecal, marine, algoid, tobacco-like, sandalwood-like, sweet, animal, musky, and radiant. Ambergris perfumes are in constant demand for their unique, sweet, leathery, and marine-like character. What should I do if I find ambergris? What should I do? Report the site to your State Territory Environment Department. No, bugger that, not telling them nothing. It's illegal to have it here. You're always on your ass for something. Australia, the unlucky country. Some fragrances contain natural ambergris. This is notably the case of very old fragrance such as Mitsuko by Guerlain, but also of more recent perfumes such as Ombre Nuit by Dior, Ombre Sultan by Serge Lutens. Does Chanel No. 5 contain ambergris? Yes, it does. Interesting. Not all that fond of the smell of Chanel No. 5 though. I like flowery perfumes. It was once rumoured to contain ambergris, but given its price point, the perfume almost certainly uses a synthetic version today. Ambergris has a very particular smell, pleasant in a musky, chocolatey, tobacco-y kind of way. He says that many of the common substances mistaken for ambergris can be sea sponges or rubber. It's not uncommon to be presented with lumps of an old dog turd. Oh, that's hilarious. Apparently, Louis Vuitton makes a perfume with real ambergris. Wow, it's interesting, but I didn't realise that they put it into your coffee, and that kind of freaked me out. See, I learnt something new today. It's an aphrodisiac. Remember Davidson? I shouldn't talk to that entity, I'm encouraging it to stay around. But do you remember how you used to burn champa flower incense and you used to put, what did he used to put in my tea? He used to call it nana tea, which means mint tea in Israel. It was a mint tea. Oh, what was the spice? I've got to think about it. Oh, yes, he just yelled it out. Cardamom. Yes, cardamon's an aphrodisiac. So he was working on my energy for the moment I walked in his door, making me nana tea and having me inhale champa flower and being all seductive and lurid, which old me would have seen right through it, but in those days I found it charming. Well, he was exotic and good looking, and sexual energy between us was intense. I shouldn't aggrandise the bastard, but this is how it really was, right? I'd walk into his apartment, tiny little apartment, tiny, and not far from where I live now actually. Whenever I drive past it, I just do a little shudder of horror actually, but anyway. And I'd walk in and I'd be, oh, hello Tanya, you're so charming and sweet. Well, I was lonely and had a terrible traumatised background. I'm always fond of men who are charming and sweet. How long that lasts, how long is a piece of string? But anyway, and he had this wonderful aroma. He smelt wonderful. You smelt wonderful, you bastard. That was part of the problem. Women would fall instantly in love with him. He had this amazing scent. Partly smelled of, to be fair, marijuana and champa flower and his own earthy. Oh, a woman could just smell him and go wild. We should have manufactured your scent, you bastard. There would have been a huge market in all the sex shops. Scent of David Davis. And you'd immediately go, whoa, and you'd get all terribly excited. I don't even know what aftershave he wore. Can't remember if he wore aftershave. But then he would present you with this, nah, would you like some nana tea, Tanya? Oh yes, please. This mint tea with cardamom. Then he'd look at you with his big, weird, reptilian-looking lizard eyes. Should have been the first red flag, to be honest. He's yelling out, hey, I had beautiful eyes. Look, they were attractive eyes, but they were very reptilian. But here's the odd thing, right? He was a snake in Chinese astrology. He was 12 years older than me. And I'm a snake in Chinese astrology. And he was in Aries, his birthday only 4 days after mine. And I'm in Aries. We had lots of similar things in common. It was a bit odd, to be honest. And then we developed this powerful spiritual bond, which I thought I managed to break with that releasing spell, which was powerful, down at Byron Bay back in 2000. And there were a few things I had to do to actually cut the connection to him while he was living back in those days. I think it took till 2002 to finally get him out of my, energy, and to finally be able to live again in my body, mind and spirit, and reclaim myself. So from 2002 to 2016, he was out of my life completely. He remarried and I got him out of my life. And I was glad of it, because he caused a lot of harm to me, actually. And then he pops up after his death in 2016. I mean, the chutzpah of it, really. But, why am I accepting it now? Because I'm old and I understand the ways of spirit, and I understand that he's got some kind of fucking contract, which is not necessarily a contract I made with him, but it's bigger than Ben-Hur, and so he can wander in and out as long as he's not messing with me too much, or I have to do banishing rituals, which I will do, and he knows that. Done those a few times. Still keeps popping back, so anyway, it's ridiculous, but it is what it is, people of Earth. Anyway, he likes it when I have nice things to say about him, but I usually choose not to, because I'm not aggrandizing that bastard. He was a narcissist and a psychopath like my mother. It's interesting that I kept drawing the same monstrous, debauch-ridden, demonic entities into my life. And it's also interesting that I've reached a point where I can say, okay, you want to hang around, you hang around. I don't have any complete control over that. But as long as you're not causing me any actual harm, not harming anyone I love or I'm close to, or anyone that comes into my, my daily, nightly activities, then I don't really have a problem with him popping in and out. I just stir him up for old time's sake. Cause me harm, I'm going to keep stirring you up till things are made right. Dear Goddess. And he doesn't have control. He thinks he has control over that. But it's between me and the Holy One and all manifestations of holiness and redemption and peace and prosperity and truest greatest love and honour and sweetness and kindness. He's just a little, what is he really? A ghost in the machinery of the one that knows who is worthy of my heart, my mind, my body, my spirit, my love. Oh, it's a fairy story within a fairy story. That's it. It's true because it's my reality. Anyway. He's saying, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Yes, you should be. You should be sorry. But we can't undo what was done. And say la vie, babies. At least he has the grace to say sorry now, after 8.5 years. Never got a sorry from my mother, by the way. Astonishing, but true. She said sorry to my sister, though. It's funny how narcissists honour other narcissists. It's disgraceful is what it is. But anyway, life goes on, people of Earth. I'm the happiest and the most powerful, perhaps even the most beloved I've ever been in my life, and I'm grateful for that. May I merit many more years of joy and delight with people who genuinely love and honour me. And if I don't, it is what it is. Hello, my little Charlie girl, my little beautiful one. Yes, she came into my life in 2017, not long after I fell in love with a South American macaw. Wanted to sell my car to buy it. $6,500 that bird would have cost. It was a wonderful bird. But Charlie came into my life in a rather unusual way too. Was gifted to me by friends, and been together ever since, haven't we, Charlie? Yes, we have. So, where were we? We read about him being a conscientious man and offering ambergris coffee. Then the tables were spread for breakfast, and the twain ate and drank their sufficiency, whereafter they fell to chatting like boon companions. Companions. In other words, like the best of friends. Presently the Imam asked the prince, saying, O my lord Zayn Al-Asnam, doth thy highness design... It's a bit worrisome that he gave him ambergris coffee, which is an aphrodisiac, though. We won't think about that. Be quiet, Daoud. I can hear him laughing his arse off. Shut up, don't be racist, Daoud. That's not nice. But anyway, you do have to wonder a bit, because that kind of thing is quite prevalent in that culture, thousands of years ago. Same with Greek culture too. But shh, I know nothing. I won't speak of such things on my YouTube channel. Yes, I feel like it. Don't feel like it today. Presently the Imam asked the prince, saying, Davidson just called out, I wonder what they smelt like. Shut up, Davidson. That's not funny. Ambergris, whale shit, yes, that's what they smelt like. Oh, my lord Zayn Al-Asnam. Sorry, I have a very ribald, earthy sense of humour, because also it's a consequence of decades of trauma and probably from celibacy as well. After a while, if you're not having good love making with a beautiful man who adores you, all you can do is laugh about it. So anyway, O my lord Zayn Al-Asnam, doth thy highness design residing long in this our city of Baghdad? And the other answered, Yes, indeed, O our lord the Imam. 'Tis my intention to tarry here for a while, until such time as my requirement shall be fulfilled. The Imam inquired, And what may be the requirement of my lord the Emir? Haply when I hear it, I may devote my life thereto, until I can fulfil it. Quoth the prince, My object is to marry a maiden who must be comely, exceedingly aged 15 years, pure, chaste, virginal, whom man hath never soiled, and who during all her days never lusted for male kind. Moreover, she must be unique for beauty and loveliness. The Imam rejoined, O my lord, this be a thing hard of finding indeed, hard exceedingly. But I know a damsel of that age who answereth to thy description. Her father, a wazir, who resigned succession and office of his own free will, now dwelleth in his mansion, jealously overwatching his daughter and her education. And I opine that this maiden will suit the fancy of thy highness, whilst she will rejoice in an emir such as thyself, and eke her parents will be equally well pleased. That was a big one, Charlie. My goodness. The prince replied, Inshallah, this damsel whereof thou speakest will suit me and supply my want, and the furtherance of my desire shall be at thy hands. But, O Lord the Imam, 'tis my wish first of all things to look upon her, and see if she be pure or otherwise. And as regarding her singular comeliness, my conviction is that I think that's meant to say conviction, is that thy word sufficeth, and thine avouchment is veridical, meaning truthful. Of her purity, however, even thou canst not bear sure and certain testimony in respect to that condition. Ask the Imam, how is it possible for you, O my lord the Emir, to learn from her face aught of her and her honour, also whether she be pure or not? Indeed, if this be known to your highness, you must be an adept at physiognomy, the study of faces and heads. However, if your highness be willing to accompany me, I will bear you to the mansion of her sire and make you acquainted with him, so shall he set her before you. The Imam Abu Bakr took the prince and passed with him into the mansion of the wazir. And when they entered, both salaamed to the housemaster, and he rose and received them with greetings, especially when he learned that an emir had visited him, and he understood from the Imam that Zayn Al-Asnam inclined to wed his daughter. So he summoned her to his presence, and she came. He didn't tell her that they were planning to wed the daughter to a Jinni, though. That's a bit rude, isn't it? And you're giving her half the facts. Phew, I'd be annoyed about that. Anyway, where were we? So he summoned her to his presence, and she came. Whereupon he bade her raise her face veil. And when she did his bidding, the prince considered her, and was amazed and perplexed at her beauty and loveliness, he never having seen aught that rivalled her in brightness and brilliancy. She was a healthy specimen. So, quoth he in his mind, would to heaven I would win this damsel like this, albeit this one be to me unlawful. Thinking thus, he drew forth the mirror from his pouch, and considered her image carefully, when, lo and behold, the crystal was bright and clean as virgin silver, and when he eyed her semblance in the glass, he saw it pure as a white dove's. Then sent he forthright for the Qazi and witnesses, and they knotted the knot and wrote the writ, and the bride was duly throned. Presently the prince took the wazir, his father-in-law, into his own mansion, and to the young lady he sent a present of costly jewels, and it was a notable marriage festival. None like it was ever seen, no, never. Zayn Al-Asnam applied himself to inviting the folk right royally, and did honour due to Abu Bakr the Imam, giving him abundant gifts, and forwarded to the bride's father offerings of notable rarities. As soon as the wedding ended, Mubarak said to the prince, O my lord, let us arise and wend our ways, lest we lose our time and leisure, for that we sought is now found. Said the prince, Right thou art. And arising with his companion, the twain fell to equipping them for travel and got ready for the bride a covered litter to be carried by camels, and they set out. Withal Mubarak well knew that the prince was deep in love with the young lady. Oh dear goddess, I told you it's never going to go good when there's a young lady involved. Wow, men are greedy and lustful creatures when it comes to beauty and virginity and youth and grace and what was it? Pure as a white dove's. So he took him aside and said to him, "O my lord Zayn Al-Asnam, I would warn thee and enjoin thee to keep watch and ward upon thy senses and passions, and to observe and preserve the pledge by thee plighted to the king of Jan." Timely reminder. "Oh, Mubarak," replied the prince, "and thou knew the love longing and ecstasy which have befallen me of my love for this young lady, thou wouldst feel ruth for me. Indeed, I never thought of aught else save of taking her to Bassorah and of going in unto her." Mubarak rejoined, "O my lord, keep thy faith and be not false to thy pact, lest a sore harm betide thee, and the loss of thy life as well as that of the young lady. Remember the oath thou swearest, nor suffer lust to lay thy reason low, and despoil thee of all thy gains, and thine honour and thy life." "Do thou, O Mubarak," retorted the prince, "become warden over her, nor allow me ever to look upon her." Mubarak, after warning Zayn Al-Asnam to protect the virgin bride against himself, fell also to defending her as his deputy. Also he prevented the prince from even looking upon her. They then travelled along the road unto the island of the Jan, after they had passed by the line leading unto Misr. But when the bride saw that the wayfare had waxed longsome, nor had beheld her bridegroom for all that time since the wedding night, she turned to Mubarak and said, "Allah upon thee, inform me, O Mubarak, by the life of thy lord the Emir, have we fared this far distance by commandment of my bridegroom, Prince Zayn Al-Asnam?" Said he, "O my lady, sore indeed is thy case to me, yet must I disclose to thee the secret thereof, which be this. Thou imaginest that Zayn Al-Asnam, the king of Bassorah, is thy bridegroom, but alas, 'tis not so. He is no husband of thine. Nay, the deed he drew up was a mere pretext, in the presence of thy parents and thy people, and now thou art going as a bride to the king of the Jan, who required thee of the prince." When the young lady heard these words, she fell to shedding tears, and Zayn Al-Asnam wept for her, weeping bitter tears from the excess of his love and affection. Then quoth the young lady, "Ye have nor pity in you, nor feeling for me, neither fear ye aught of Allah that, seeing in me a stranger maiden, ye cast me into a calamity like this. What shall ye return to the Lord on the day of reckoning for such treason ye work upon me?" She's right. I'd be seething with rage too. However, her words and her weeping availed her naught, for that they stinted not wayfaring with her until they reached the king of the Jan, to whom they forthright on arrival made offer of her. When he considered the damsel, she pleased him. So he turned to Zayn Al-Asnam and said to him, "Verily the bride thou broughtest me is exceeding beautiful and passing of loveliness. Yet lovelier and more beautiful to me appear thy true faith and the mastery of thine own passions, thy marvellous purity and valiance of heart. So hie thee to thy home, and the ninth statue wherefore thou asked me, by thee shall be found beside the other images, for I will send it by one of my slaves of the Jann. Hereupon Zayn al-Asnam kissed his hand and marched back with Mubarak to Cairo, where he would not abide long with his companion. But as soon as he was rested of his extreme longing and anxious yearning to see the ninth statue, he hastened his travel homewards. Withal, he ceased not to be thoughtful and sorrowful concerning his maiden wife, and on account of her beauty and loveliness, and he would fall to groaning and crying, "Oh, for my lost joys, whose cause wast thou, O singular in every charm and attraction, thou whom I bore away from thy parents and carried to the king of the Jann. Alas and woe, woeth the day." Zayn al-Asnam fell to chiding himself for the deceit and treason which he had practised upon the young lady's parents, and for bringing and offering her to the king of the Jann. Then he set out, nor ceased travelling till such time as he reached Bassorah, when he entered his palace. And after saluting his mother, he apprised her of all the things that had befallen him. She replied, "Arise, O my son, that we may look upon the ninth statue, for I rejoice with extreme joy at its being in our possession." So both descended into the pavilion where stood the 8 images of precious gems, and here they found a mighty marvel. 'Twas this: in lieu of seeing the ninth statue upon the golden throne, they found seated thereon the young lady whose beauty suggested the sun. Zayn al-Asnam knew her at first sight, and presently she addressed him, saying, "Marvel not for that here thou findest me in place of that wherefore thou askest, and I deem that thou shalt not regret nor repent when thou acceptest me instead of that thou soughtest." Said he, "No, by Allah, O lifeblood of my heart! Verily thou art the end of every wish of me, nor would I exchange thee for all the gems in the universe. Would thou knew what was the sorrow which surcharged on me on account of our separation, and of my reflecting that I took thee from thy parents by fraud, and I bore thee as a present to the king of the Jann. Indeed, I am well nigh determined to forfeit all my profit of the ninth statue, and bear thee away to Bassorah as my own bride, when my comrade and counsellor dissuaded me from doing so, lest I bring about my death and thy death." Nor had Zayn al-Asnam ended his words ere they heard the roar of thunderings that would rend a mountain, shake the earth, whereat the queen mother was seized with mighty fear and affright. But presently appeared the king of the Jinns, who said to her, "O my lady, fear not. 'Tis I, the protector of thy son, whom I fondly affect for the affection borne to me by his sire. I also am he who manifested myself to him in his sleep, and my object therein was to make trial of his valiance, and to learn an he could do violence to his passions for the sake of his promise, or whether the beauty of this lady would so tempt and allure him that he could not keep his promise to me with due regard. Indeed, Zayn al-Asnam hath not kept faith and covenant with all nicety as regards the young lady, and that he longed for her to become his wife. However, I am assured that this lapse befell him from man's natural and inherent frailty, albeit I repeatedly enjoined him to defend and protect her until he concealed from her his face. I now accept this man's valour and bestow her upon him to wife, for she is the knight's statue by me promised to him, and she is fairer than all these jewelled images, the like of her not being found in the whole world of men, save by the rarest of chances. How beautiful is that? Then the king of the Jann turned to the prince and said to him, O Emir Zayn Al-Asnam, this is thy bride. Take her and enjoy upon her the one condition, that thou love her only, nor choose for thyself another one in addition to her. And I pledge myself that her faith theewards will be of the fairest. Hereupon the king of the Jann disappeared, and the prince, gladdened and rejoicing, went forth with the maiden, and for his love and affection to her, he paid to her the first ceremonious visit that same night, and he made bride feasts and banquets throughout his realm, and in due time he formally wedded her and went in unto her. That means they consummated their marriage. Then he established himself upon the throne of his kingship and ruled it, bidding and forbidding, and his consort became queen of Basora. His wife left this life a short while afterwards, and they both mourned and lamented their loss. Lastly, he lived with his wife in all joyance of life, till there came to them the destroyer of delights and the separator of societies. Quoth Dunyazad, as was her way, to her sister Scheherazade, O sister mine, what a rare and delectable tale hast thou told, and now prithee favour us with another. So tomorrow's tale, or whenever I get round to making another of these videos, is Khudadad and his brothers. But I enjoyed that. That turned out to be a very lovely fairy love story that ended well. Keeping your word and being honourable and decent and withholding your passions. Well, Mama T's withheld her passions for many years now, 9.5 years, roundabouts. So, well, what does it matter? I'm old now. I've seen men come and men go, and not one of them was worthy of my heart. So my life's a weird kind of fairy story in a way. I am named after Titania, Tatiana, the fairy queen of the forest, and I live at the foot of a forest, and but Tatiana had her Oberon. Let us not forget that. Anyway, it's all good, people. It all comes down to destiny and fate, and the right man would never strive to hurt me or humiliate or debase me, because we had that quite enough in this incarnation, and one of them still trying to make amends for it, which I accept with grace. He owes me that much. And anyway, across the dimensions, between heaven and hell, somewhere out there is my true lover man who adores me values and cherishes me and will come to me at the appropriate time of his own free will. And I don't know how he'll prove to me that he's real this time, because I'm very cynical and circumspect and brutalised and broken and reconfigured. So my kintsugi'd heart is rebuilt from spiritual gold, and to put it in an earthy way, it'll be a very hard nut to crack. The fact that it's started to unfurl, as it has done in recent years, is also kind of miraculous. But yes, may have to lock it down again and wait until such time as I leave this mortal coil and I'm shown the real love long promised me 30 years ago. So it occurred to me, as I said yesterday, it may not even be a human mortal man, but some other kind of entity, hopefully, who matches my energy, which is both a blend of dark and light, like any mortal, but yeah, who was the one meant for me. Oh, isn't that sweet and romantic? Inspired by a 1001 fairy story from ancient Islamic law, but, well, you just never know, do you? Never know what's around the corner. But as long as the man that is destined to be my partner isn't tricked or deceived or brought in by some demonic fucking matchmaker or someone under the influence of something demonic or negative, then I'll be okay with that. Make your own mind up, live your life in freedom, love freely without harm or foul or mischief or mayhem or abuse dynamics or trauma dynamics, because as soon as I get a sniff of that, Mama T chews her arms off, literally, and moves on. But I don't actually know what happened on Friday night, actually. I think there was a bit of influencing going on in the background. I was getting the most loving, seductive looks. It was delightful. Then some woman arrived, and I don't know what that was all about. So when in doubt, Mama T walks out. It's just how I roll, babies. Won't buy into other people's control dramas, or if it's a game or not, I don't really know, to be honest. But with my ancient trauma triggers, I decided that something wasn't quite kosher, and I was tired anyway. I danced all night. It was time to go home. So that's what I did, like a queen, with great dignity and aplomb, because it's one thing I learnt from dealing with that one. Never ever let them see they got to you. Hold your dignity, no matter what, no matter who. So, love to you all, people of Earth. It's now 7:17 p.m. It's a beautiful evening, the space-time continuum here in Brisbane, Australia, and it's been raining on and off all day. Hopefully it'll be a nicer day tomorrow. I might have to think about actually getting out of this house because I haven't been anywhere since I went dancing Friday night. Feel a little bit hemmed in, and kind of need to go and buy some more vegetables and meat and milk, a few bits and pieces for the house. My wonderful friend Jared has told me today he's coming to, was it today I spoke to him? Yesterday, can't remember. He's coming to spend Boxing Day with me, which is our usual tradition. So I'm happy about that. I actually thought he wasn't coming this year, and I got myself a little bit upset about I don't celebrate Christmas, so it's not about that, but it just got myself a bit upset that I was going to be completely alone this year, because I've done it completely alone, quite some years, but the last few years it's been lovely having Jared and Crystal used to come on Boxing Day too. Just breaks up the season a bit, because Christmas Eve is my family traditionally celebrated Christmas and Christmas Eve, because my mother's German, so Christmas Eve's always a very awful day for me. Christmas Day not so much, because we didn't really celebrate it much on Christmas Day anyway, but it's still a bit tickety-boo, And so Boxing Day I decided would be the day that we would have family gatherings, and my family consists of Jared and Crystal, who's no longer present in my life by her choice, and Jasmine long ago estranged too. So it's lovely that Jared's decided to come sit for some hours, sit out the day with me on Boxing Day. And that's my life, people of Earth. And I'm a lovely person, and I don't deserve it. That's my life and how I've ended up being abandoned and rejected and neglected and abused by my close family, but that's how it's ended up. And like being haunted by a dead former lover, you just have to accept with grace and move on. But I am happy that Jared's coming, and buy some niceties for us to eat. So yes. So on that note, good evening and good night, and I'll speak to you again in the next day or two, continuing on with the fairy stories. We're almost halfway through now. It's a lot, isn't it? Not even quite halfway there. Oh well. I may get inspired as I do to read other stories. I may even not continue with the Arabian Nights, but it'd be nice to read all of them, wouldn't it? Since we're halfway through and all. Must complete our missions. So anyway, people of Earth, love to you all. Have a wonderful day, night or evening, wherever you are. Bye for now.